What's up there, my gentlemen, fellers? How was y'all's day? Yeah, changed up the. I think I'm gonna change the camera angle tomorrow to the other side. Use a different part of my desk. Check. Yeah, still haven't got it all figured out yet. Jeez. I was thinking about using a different camera too. Actually, I was thinking about how different Americans are than they were in the past. Like they have to be different. Uh, if you think about it, yeah, Nick's out till the 27th. But if you think about it, Americans and the English were the most industrious people perhaps the planet has ever known. You know, there's definitely an argument that could be made for that. And I feel like we've lost that somehow in the last since World War II. I feel like when I got out of school, and I think whenever, but same thing with people that got out of college. The idea is that you go to school, get a degree, whether that be a diploma or a college degree. Then you get out of college and you immediately look for a business that is willing to pay you a living wage, or you're trying to find. Oh shit, my computer. Wow, my computer is the fan is running like crazy. But you go around and you look for a business, you look for somebody that will employ you. You hope that you have some skill that is valuable enough that somebody will pay you a wage that you could start a family with, buy a house with. But if you think about that kind of stuff, America, that was not what America was built on at all. At all, not even close. If you think about manifest destiny and the ethos and the types of people that Americans were and all the opportunity in America. Yo, let me get some likes, fellas. All the opportunity that was in America. I mean, you could literally go west to California and pick up fucking gold off the ground, bro. Make a fortune by picking pebbles up off the ground. Y'all ever thought about that? Like that's incredible. The California gold rush, and that's why it was a rush. That's why people hauled ass there because you could either make money panning for gold in rivers, you could make money prospecting, just outright looking for gold deposits. But we claimed and settled the American continent in like less than a century because you have to realize only the East Coast, as far in as like Ohio was unsettled during the Revolution. Put it that way. It was a bunch of, it was Indians and mountain men, sort of, trappers. And those guys, nobody was helping them. There was no welfare, none of that shit. There wasn't even women other than squaws, pretty much. by like the Civil War, we had between the Revolution and the Civil War, less than a century, we had followed the manifest destiny, laid claim to Texas, purchased California, and I think New Mexico, Arizona, and literally settled the entire American continent. Now, it's not that we just set, we did settle it, but we also took some of it from Mexicans. And the fact that we took it from Mexicans implies that it wasn't all that well settled by Mexico. It was so sparsely populated that a few Americans could mosey in and push them off, like legitimately push them off. And really, I've said this before, you can really only land that you can successfully defend is your land. That's a fact. That's the way the world works. And if you only have, you can claim it, you can populate it, but if it's so sparsely populated that people with pitchforks and torches can move you off of it, you really, you weren't holding it all that well. The Indians actually put up a hell of a lot more of a fight than the Mexicans did. I mean, of course, there's the Alamo and General Santana and stuff, but that's it. Like we just had to a ragtag group of fucking settlers could band together and kick the hell out of, you know, kick hell out of a professional army that had spent years putting down, a real experienced, battle hardened army. Kick their asses. Just kicked them right out. You had Lewis and Clark that were legitimately just map makers, just I forget what they call it, the guys that work with the surveying. A couple of surveyors and a group of ragtag group of Americans and an Indians, couple Indians, at least one squaw Sacagawea, and those motherfuckers marched from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. Marched, marched. I mean, some of it they portage, some of it they took ships, I believe. But that ethos, that whole manifest destiny and setting out to stake your claim and setting out to blaze your trail and conquer, you know, create a life for yourself, legitimately create a life for yourself. And of course, there was a lot of opportunity. I think there was 40 mules or 40 acres and a mule type deals that I mean, they were giving land away. But at the same time, like nowadays, people that get out of school and what do? They don't they don't see the world as their oyster. They don't see the world as millions of opportunities. Let me set out into it and discover what I was meant for. No, no, we don't do that. We get out of school, whether it be college or high school, and we basically beg businesses to employ us, to train us. And it's so disheartening how we don't have that explorer ethos anymore. Like, there's a reason why we're so stagnant right now as a country. Our attitude has a hell of a lot to do with it. And our way of life also has a hell of a lot to do with it. But this whole 9 to 5 shit that we do here in America, I think it's totally for the birds, and it's led to stagnation. It's led to misery. It's led to unfulfilled lives, millions of people unfulfilled. And right now, we're going through like another gold rush period where anybody with the will, the inclination, and the curiosity can set out, can go out and legitimately and leave their mark, create a mark, become a household name, just like that. Look at Nick Shirley. This kid's a fucking nobody. And he sets out to make a name for himself. And like overnight, dude is a downright household name, an American household name. And why is it that are you talking about on the screen there? Why are the chats not popping up there? Hang on one second. I think they should pop up now. You see how the YouTube up in the corner, the YouTube views, that wasn't I hadn't clicked on that yet. Uh it hadn't showed up. That's why the you guys' chats weren't showing up. But I was thinking, how is it that, we went from being such a grand country that invented the telephone, went to the moon, all these different truly, truly unique and one of a kind people, and like this was the land of opportunity, and it was that way for a long time. But at some point, it's like when we needed to expand and our elite, the people running the country needed us to go out and settle these states, settle these environments so that America could lay claim to the most of the continent. And then once it was all claimed, it's like, okay, we don't need everybody to go out and achieve and make a name. Now we just, some of us, the railroad owners, is like, we don't need that anymore. Everything is claimed. Now let's create an education system that funnels people into working for businesses. We don't want people that are going to set out on their own, whether it be on another in another part of the world, in America. But it's like people don't even consider that stuff. You're either thinking about the military after high school or college, or you're thinking about what business will hire me. What asshole business douchebag boss will hire me, you know, and will earn the surplus of my labor, the earn a portion of my labor. And in turn, yeah, yeah, you get you're relieved of the responsibility of having to find work and having to concern yourself with where you're going to, you know, get money from in the future. Your boss does that, and they concern themselves with making sure that work is steady. But at the same time, it's so constraining. And I remember when I was younger, one of my cousins was on welfare. He had just moved back here from New York. He had uh, his woman. They weren't married. She had a kid before him, and then they just had a kid. Like maybe she was less than 5, and then they had a newborn. And they were in Section 8. He does AC, like he owns his own house now. This was like 30 years ago, but they were living in Section 8 down the street from my grandma and grandpa and his parent or my cousin's parents. And I remember my grandfather pulling me aside and he's like, don't ever like that Section 8, that welfare shit. It's for the fucking birds, kid. You know, and basically what my grandfather said was, yeah, it's free money, but it literally you can't live without that money. So, and my cousin, he couldn't work, he couldn't make over a certain amount. And I remember my grandfather just being like, you're under their fucking thumb. You know, yeah, you get free money, but you also can never raise your standard of living for fear that you'll lose the free money. And the whole idea, you know, the fear that you'll lose the free money, basically, that's so short-sighted. I mean, that's got to be the dumbest way of thinking. You know, you'll never actually live a luxurious lifestyle, even if you're capable of it. I'm sure there are a lot of people that were possibly capable of being wealthy never got there because they were worried about their welfare check. I mean, it's such a shame. But I remember my grandfather telling me that. He's like, don't ever go for that. He's like, and the way he explained it, he's like, you know, you'll always be that poor. You will always be that poor. You will never ever live with a quality of a standard of quality or a living standard that is above Section 8. He's like, you know, some people are comfortable with that. Some people have no ambition. Some people just want to lounge all day. You know, that's why some people are totally fine with prison. Some people, that's cool with them. They're down with it. You know, if they don't have to do shit all day, they can just sit around. They don't need freedom. They have no ambitions. They're down to just loaf. And honestly, I would rather be dead. I would rather be fucking dead, man. I've been to jail. I've sat in that bitch for 3 months. And I can tell you, I would rather be dead. Like that my one of my biggest fears was going to like ending up in prison. Ah, I just couldn't imagine. Like, I know the work and shit makes it, it's not that, and it's not the shame of it, actually. No, 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 no. It's giving up a chunk of my fucking life. That's what, that's what scares me about it. That I would give up years of my life so that I can be with a bunch of dirty, disgusting, loud, obnoxious men that are probably violent too. You know what I mean? Like, so I can be in close quarters with them, so I can smell their farts and shit. Nah, I'm good. Like, and just for the 3 months that I did, I think I did 3 months, 2 months, and then 1 month. So I think I did a total of 6 months altogether. But those times, man, it just ate me alive. That I, you know, and I sitting there, I remember thinking of all the different things that I could be doing. You know, like I have family all over the country. I would think like, God damn, I could go just move, you know. And I was on probation for a little, like a couple years or a year. And I remember after getting in trouble and thinking, fuck, man, I'm stuck here. You know, like genuinely, fuck. And something about that, man, just drove me nuts. I was thinking I could go stay with my family up north. Shit, I could go hike the Appalachian Trail, start down in Georgia, and just fucking walk to Maine. Fuck it, just walk. And I almost did that. My friend chickened out at the last second, and then I was gonna I was gonna do I was gonna ride a bike from Florida to California. I was gonna go from Central Florida all the way to San Diego, Southern California somewhere. And I built the bike. I spent like $2,500. I mean, I built the rims, I built the wheels, I bought the tires, I bought everything, spokes, rims, inner tubes. I bought gear hubs, you know, that had, I think they were Sturmey Archer. The front hub that I installed myself was a dynamo hub. It produced like if it produced like I think 5 volts at like 2 amps, exactly how much it takes to charge an iPhone. And It was a touring bike too, but the rear hub was like a 7-speed gear hub with and they both they had drum brakes, the front and rear hub, which and the brakes they had were industrial brakes. Uh they were meant for street vendors, you know, those little like good humor bars. They have like a little bicycle with a cooler on it. And they ride the bicycle with the little bell. They ride that shit all around town and sell candy bars or any sort of a commercial bicycle, you know, because usually commercial uh, bike vehicles, they're heavy as shit. They got a cooler on them. They got an engine, or, you know, they got a grill on them, hot dog stand, whatever. But the reason why I say something about the drum brakes is those touring bikes, you're talking about 3 to 400 pounds fully loaded on that bike. And there is such a thing as brake overheating. Like if you use rim brakes that are on normal bikes, if you're going fast enough downhill with enough weight, those will liquefy. They will get so hot, they will liquefy and you become a runaway bicycle with 400 pounds, which that scared the shit out of me. The idea, because I was going to go out west, and the idea of a runaway bike with like 400 pounds going downhill, dude, that's scary as fuck, man. Because I've been on runaway bicycles, runaway skateboards, and shit where you're just going downhill. You just keep going faster and faster till you wipe the fuck out. So I bought those drum brakes because they were good for like 1,000 pounds because they were commercial and they were sealed too. Because it's a problem with rim brakes. It's a problem with several different types of brakes on bicycles. Is they can get ice, they can get or wet or ice where they don't work. But the drum brakes come sealed in the hub, so the outside elements you don't have to grease them or anything. You don't have to grease the gears on the internal gear hub. And I bought like a fucking uh custom touring bike. It was called a Soma Saga, and it was made out of like the polytange metal that the best bicycles are made out of, and it had a touring bike geometry. I mean, it was really nice, really comfortable, and I've had some badass drop handlebars, some nice aluminum drop handlebars. I had a Brook saddle, a fucking badass Brook saddle that they don't even make anymore, and which it would be worth like five. But I sold the bike later for just about what I put into it. But it took me like 6 months to build the bike, which was awesome. You know, I learned a lot about bikes, a lot more than I did before. Uh, you know, and I had front and rear panniers. I had a little basket rack on the front and the rear. So I could put saddlebags on the front tire and saddlebags on the rear tire. And let me tell you something, them panniers ain't cheap, man. I bought some Ortlieb, some German made panniers, waterproof panniers. Bro, it was 180 bucks per pair. 180 bucks for the front, 180 bucks for the back. But it was dope though, because you could fit a shit ton of gear in those things. And it had a fucking the rack on the back so I could stack a pack up. But I had a phone charger, I mounted my phone on the steering wheel. I had a little pack that velcroed uh into the space between, you know, the central space of the bike, and it had uh air pump, you know, a mobile air pump. It was a small one, but it was enough to get you by. And then they have foldable tires that don't use metal beads. They use carbon fiber beads, like the bead that locks it to the rim. So you can fold them, which is sick, man. You know, you can carry 4 or 5 extra tires, as many inner tubes as you want. Uh, I made the rims. It was sick. I learned how to balance a rim, and you know, I had a spoke wrench and shit. I mean, it was such a nice bike, man. I ended up not going though. I had been trying to get a job. It was before I did tree work, and my cousin worked. He had been working at the same company for years, and it was a great job. I worked there too, but all of a sudden, I'd been waiting like 3 years to get a job, and then all of a sudden, after I built the bike, they got the owner offered me a fucking job, and I was like, well, I can always fucking do this. I can always, I ended up going and doing tree work, which I don't regret it. One day I'll do that shit. And that's when I also learned how to play the banjo. Hang on. Jesus. Yeah, I learned how to play the banjo too. It's like I had been working for a couple years and I thought a lot about all the time that I wasted in school. Like instead of learning stuff that, learning skills and make using my time wisely, I had wasted it, like playing video games, dicking around, hanging out with friends. So when I did landscaping before I did tree work, and when I stopped doing landscaping, I had I had unemployment for like a year. I was like, you know something, I'm gonna fucking take this year off, and I'm just gonna do all this a bunch of stuff that I wanted to do or that I've been thinking about. So I bought a banjo, started putting together that bike, and just really did learned the things that I wanted to learn. What do you mean? He's about to go live. What do you want me to switch it over? I mean, I could switch it over. We could watch it, check out what's shaking. We get something good. I like Andrew Wilson. I mean, he's all right. Not my favorite, but he's a good fucking a good at debating. That's for sure. Let me switch it over right quick. Man, I had some strawberries earlier. I had some blueberries. I love that shit. Yeah, I don't know why, but the last couple years, like I've just really, really, really started enjoying fruit, like trying a fruit that I'd never tried. Uh, like I remember I had never ate raw blueberries for many years. Weird. I don't know why. I don't see Andrew Wilson going on. Is his channel? It wasn't the Crucible. That's right. Which is a pretty neat name. Not gonna lie, it is a pretty. Ah, it's not on yet, but it will be on. Oops. And I like putting on stuff like this sometimes too, because a lot of time I went shopping earlier, doing some different stuff earlier. So I wasn't thinking a lot today. And if I put something interesting on, I tend to automatically have a lot to say, have an opinion about what's being talked about. And Andrew Wilson, he is smart. But he's smart, but he also knows how to debate. See, I don't know how to debate. There he is. Why is it so many people like rely on me to find out what's going on with him? What is so hard
We on the
about
right stream yet?
joining the
I think
dude's
we're on the
fucking
right stream now,
Telegram?
finally.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's so tough about
I
it?
hope.
Just follow the motherfucker on Telegram.
What the fuck? That was bizarre.
See what he's getting into today.
I have no idea
That was a dope sound
why
effect.
Mystery did that. It's not his fault, but it's
something
his
I
fault.
seen earlier. I was looking on X and I seen some statistics here that were kind of alarming about South America and Latin America. I think you guys would be quite surprised. Let me show you all this shit right quick. Wish I knew why the fuck my computer is revved up. Like the fan is way up. Oh, he ran into a connection. Okay, well, I mean, no big deal. I was gonna throw on uh this this is my ex real quick. Anyway, yeah, Latin America is suffering population decline at the moment, gentlemen. Literally dropped. It's below fucking replacement right now. It's as low as ours is, my dudes. Latin America. The people that had all kinds of kids just a couple years ago. Yeah, they're gone. They're done. They're way below. There's only like 3 countries south of America that are actually like above replacement rate. And that's what I've been saying, dude. This is a modernity issue. This is not a America issue. No, no, this is modern humans. Check this out. New report from America Quarterly details how the region's fertility rate hit 1.8 children per woman in 2024, below the 2.1 replacement level, with Chile at just 1.1 amid 1.1, bro, amid urbanization, education gains, and economic pressures. Recent censuses in Brazil, Chile, and Paraguay show populations 5 to 20% smaller than expected, ending the youth bulge that drove growth, while the median age could reach 40 by 2050. Challenges include pension strains and school closures, but opportunities arise in a $650 billion silver economy, which I think means elder care by 2033 through elder care and tech, with experts calling for immigration, family supports, and productivity boosts to adapt. Bro, this influx of Browns, bro, they're fixing to leave. They're fixing to leave, my dudes. Like we don't even have to. Fuck did I put that ashtray? We don't even have to worry about this shit anymore. These people are fixing to go home. Why the hell would they stay here when there's more jobs in their country of origin? Why would they stay here? You feel me? Why would they know? I mean, from what I can tell, I would imagine some Americans are going to move down there looking for work. Much less brown people. But let's see here. This collective suicide of humanity needs to turn around. Well, I think Elon Musk is just chicken littling it. to be honest, because, the human race has gone through this before. It would be absurd to think that humans haven't had population issues or haven't been below replacement for a couple generations. Well, and you're right, it's becoming full circle, but think about this. We were the first ones to go through this population shrinking, this population contraction. And you got to realize this growth shit that that our elites are constantly fucking harping on. Growth, it's all about growth. It's unsustainable. It's unsustainable. Yeah, like and with all these technological advances, we have plenty of food. So it's not food. It's modernity. People their way of life changes. People don't want to live the way they used to live. And when it was just us and the rest of the world was still in pre-modernity mode, when they're still having 7, 8, 9, 10 kids, when we're shrinking, our population is on the decline. Well, that creates a suction, a current to our country because they have more than they need. We're on the decline. And so all of a sudden, we don't have our demographic security. We're not secure. It looks like we're being replaced and shit. So we're under pressure. We feel a pressure when this is our country. And when brown people start coming in and invading, it scares you. It scares me. It scares all of us that we're going to lose our damned country, that it's going to disappear, that they didn't need borders. But, it's like it's going to disappear. Well, now that they're having the same problem, it's going to cause a reverse suction. It's going to cause people to remigrate home, guaranteed. That's absolutely what it's going to do because their people, their parents are going to need people to wipe their asses. But what that does for us is that gives us demographic security to figure out how the fuck we're going to navigate this new era, this new way of life. It's hard to figure that shit out when you're being replaced with immigrants. I don't think we're dying off. I think we're just going through a downsizing. You understand what I'm saying? Years ago, people needed to have 10 kids. Well, now we don't need to do that. So people don't do it. And it's expensive to have a ton of kids. So people don't. And at the moment, and when that happens, your population shrinks, gets smaller. But we're going through a time of upheaval, a big time of change. People don't, this is new. We're having to navigate this. We're having to figure this out. There are no instructions. There are no other generations that went through a whole life with social media, with all these different technologies and all these different changes. It takes time for people to organically discover where there's still meaning left to be found, or where you find meaning, how you start a life, what are the prerequisites? What do you need to have a family and a life? It takes time for that to happen organically, and it has to happen organically. That's the only way you get to uh, uh, a natural state of growth. You can't do it from top down. You can't just write ways of life. No, that shit happens from people, a thousand flowers blooming. Everybody just doing what they see fit. And the good ways of life will become obvious and the poor ways of life will fall away. You know what I'm saying? There will be examples of, people that have a great lifestyle. They love their kid, they have a great family, great lifestyle, a great life. And then those will become the role model. just like it was before, the way that America was post World War II. You know, that was like a a good model for a successful life. You know, you might not be outrageously rich, but you would live a good life, and there was purpose and meaning. Well, it takes time. It's going to take time, and the fact that every other country is going to be going through this, because I'm not worried about it. I know human beings uh, are survivors. You know what I'm saying? We are survivors. And we are the human beings. Our genetics are the genetics that are surviving genetics that have survived hundreds of thousands of years. Every one of you guys, me, all of you, everyone alive today has the best genes in the human race ever. You know, the most likely to survive, to reproduce. So I have no doubt that we will. And it may even take all of this tech to be destroyed. You know, maybe it, we'll just keep or we'll destroy it all, or destroy ourselves and only be a small group of people that survive and they start over. At the same time, hang on one second. I need to write something. Dude, where the fuck is my dude? Yeah, we're all survivors. Absolutely. We'll get through this. And maybe, like I said, maybe things will have to go back to pre-modernity. Just wanted to write down a thought. That was a really good thought I had. But yeah, maybe things need to go back to pre-modernity. I don't think so, but I would imagine that people will sort it out. People will figure out how to find meaning, and things will reach an equilibrium. But the fact that it's happening in other parts of the world, that is a good sign, because now it's not just Americans that have to figure out the way forward. Now it's the rest of the world, from different civilizations, different cultures that see things differently, that their natural ideas for how to move forward are going to be different than our natural ideas. So the more the merrier. You know what I mean? A thousand flowers bloom. Maybe somebody in Chile comes up with the example, the ideal who knows? You know, it's a global world though. And the more people that we have going through that, I don't think we're cooked at all, man. Like, economies, bubbles burst, and economies contract and expand. That's what happens, my dudes. That's what happens. The Roman Empire fell and we were cast into the dark ages for 1,000 fucking years. But people still thrived and survived. They were just set back technologically for a long time. And we reached even higher heights, which I don't think that things will collapse like after Rome. It's too widespread. Rome, it was only in Eurasia. Nobody, they hadn't even discovered the Americas yet. Yeah, we are resilient, but not only are we resilient, we have multiple different peoples and different civilizations and different cultures from top to toe in South America and North America. You have the Canucks, Americans, which is Canadians and Americans. We have such a diverse group of people, all kinds of different Europeans, some browns, some Asians. Then you have Mexico has a decline. Their birth rate is below replacement. Tell me that's not fucking crazy. But we have all these different people. We're all exceptional peoples. I would even say the Mexicans are rather exceptional. And they're a homogenation. They're a hodgepodge. They're between Spain or Spanish Europeans and American Indians. Then you have like Argentina, you've got Brazil, a lot of different traditions, a lot of different cultures, and just a lot of variability. You have people that are blonde haired, blue eyed, you have people that are dark skinned, dark eyes. And, like something would have to be cataclysmic to wipe all of us out. It barring like a meteor or a natural disaster, it would have to be like a disease or something. Like there's no way that that many people that varying in degree and types of people, there's no way that all of us will just get wiped off the Western Hemisphere. You know what I mean? Like some of us may fall, but I just don't see whole countries collapsing or whole peoples disappear. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different peoples that are survivors too. Like you think of Chile and shit. Those people, dude, they live way up in the fucking mountains. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then there's people that live in Venezuela in the fucking rainforest and shit. Like these are survivors. And I did want to kind of show some of these numbers here. Look at this shit. Number of children per woman. Chile is the lowest. Haiti is the highest. And it's only 2.7, my dudes. 2.7, 2.6, 2.7. Bolivia, 2.5. Honduras, 2.5. Paraguay, 2.4. Guatemala, 2.3. Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, both at 2.2, just above replacement. And then Panama is 2.1, Venezuela is 2 point, almost a little over 2 point. But the rest of them are at replacement, barely at replacement or below. Mexico is literally below 2 children per woman. That's insane, bro. Mexico used to be like, what? Dude, they used to have kids like nobody's fucking business, man. That's insane, bro. Like nobody would have guessed that would be the case. Nobody. And there was one more, I think. No. I think I had it bookmarked. Fuck. There we go. We go to the bookmarks. I had a couple more graphs bookmarked, I think. Oh yeah. Latin America will rapidly age in decades to come. That's crazy. They used to only have 4% of their in the 1990, 4% were over 65. It'll be almost 20% by 2050. Nobody saw this shit coming. But anyway, I'm gonna throw it over to Andrew Wilson, see what he's saying.
I know it's vindictive. I know
He's a bit of a smart or a
it's
bit of
not
a
particularly Christian, but I'm
not
not a perfect
smug, but
man.
it's just
So
he
I
doesn't
can't
pull any
help
punches, that's for
sometimes
sure.
but fuck with these people. I can't help myself. Okay? Can't help it. Yes, it's true. He has a tiny channel and it makes no money. And he's been on all the big shows in the podcast circuit and he can't get any traction because of the liberal likability issue. For those of you who aren't aware of what the liberal likability issue is, let me explain it to you. It just works like this.
Huh.
Because every sentence that one of these online liberals
Fix
speaks
the
is
chat
in the
right
most
quick.
condescending way they can possibly speak it, they can't get any traction. None of them. Not so erudite, can't get traction. Been on all these huge shows, can't get any fucking traction. Disco, all these huge shows, can't get any traction. The only time they ever got any traction is when Destiny dealt with them. And I always thought that there was a little bit of justice in that because I was like, man, at least he's the one who has to deal with these just insufferable fucking people all day. I don't know how he does it. No clue.
Because he's a fucking insufferable
But that's the
jackass himself.
likability issue.
Destiny is a
Just can't get
jackass.
anywhere because there's just not a single likable bone in their body. Just none. And that's not my fault. I didn't do that. Just just how they are. Just don't have whatever the thing is
Okay, he's not
that makes people go, "Oh yeah, man, let's have a conversation or let's talk," or
Let me
yeah,
see if I
"Oh
can
hey,
find
yeah, that
something
guy's a good
else.
guy. Let's have a beer."
He's not even
Whatever
talking
that
about
is, they
anything.
don't have whatever that is.
Jeez.
They have
Well,
the
I guess I do
opposite
the same
problem.
thing. I can't really
It's
talk
like
shit.
unless you just
I can't really
love
talk shit.
be condescended to all day long, I don't know how you put up with them.
Here we go.
I
This
don't
is
know how you
quite
do it.
incredible to me. This is an amazing.
We can
But
do
anyway,
that.
Pisco went into a
Here's a
meltdown.
good one. Yeah, like I said, I've
This is quite incredible to me.
been
This is an
thinking a lot,
amazing
or
exercise in missing the point
hadn't been thinking very much
happening
today.
around you and being led by the nose by woke ideology to your own detriment. It's actually quite amazing how capitalism and how capitalists, how the big businesses have got those ridiculous lefty wokeoids on the strings
Yo,
and they're just literally puppeteering them,
hit my
just pulling the
Telegram
strings.
up,
And
fellas,
these people,
or WhatsApp.
I guess, will never understand
I'm gonna make
what
a
the
channel.
problem is here, or the actual problem. Like they literally like lambs to.
Also, man, my Facebook is starting to do pretty good. I think I had like maybe 10 people that watch me on here, followed me on Facebook. I'm already over 25. Like in the last 3 or 4 days, I added like 15 followers. I just like, so I forget who it is that always tells me, says, man, you should do clips of Nick. Bro, I've loaded like 4 clips of badass, like some good Nick Fuentes clips, like that I recorded, that, I do a stream that has his show. And the shorts that I do on this channel, I took like the 4 best and loaded them on Facebook. Bro, one of them has like 50 comments. It's been like 3 days. Like, I'm kind of amazed, honestly. Like,
Slaughter.
actually, and kind of excited too, because Facebook is obviously virgin ground. There's a lot of opportunity on Facebook. At least for me, like probably guys that are. Oh, you stream on Facebook? Yeah, I'm trying to get to that point with my page. The page is JT Blaine.
Not comprehending
Let me might be able to
why
put it in the
this is
chat.
happening. So anyway, you can see here, this is an advert that was at Bristol Airport. She outworks everyone. You can only see the problem here. And she'll never ask for a raise. Meet your new AI employee. Always on, never sick, no HR required.
Here we go.
Well, I'm sold. I mean, Jesus Christ. Sorry, everyone on the podcast. If YouTube wasn't banning people left, right, and center for being
There you go.
inauthentic content, which none of the people I've seen banned have been
What's up,
inauthentic
Alex?
content, then maybe I'd
What,
think
dude?
about it.
No, maybe that's not. No, that
But
ain't
no,
it.
jokes aside, obviously,
It's not right.
this is just advertising AI. And I don't doubt that they've had adverts about this AI in mail as well. But that didn't raise outrage because this is misogyny with a marketing budget. UK AI firm accused of sexist advert. Okay, yeah. This has received 7 complaints. The Advertising Standards Agency Authority has 7
What's up,
complaints
Alex?
about the
What you been
campaign
up to,
bomb
man?
by Narwhal Out Labs.
Here we go.
Which includes the advert depicting a woman next to a strapline. She'll outwork
I guess
everyone and she'll never ask for a raise.
I guess the handle hasn't changed yet. Like okay, it's 20 followers. I get the handle for the page because I changed the name to JT as well. But yeah, had like I think 11 people reacted to a short that I just posted. Like all of a sudden, I've had like a 5,000% increase uh in reactions and people like reacting to that page.
The Guardian understands that the complaints received
Oh
by the
hell
challenge,
yeah.
whether the ads are
Glad to
misogynistic,
hear
are
that,
being
Christopher.
addressed to determine whether there's grounds for further action.
I try to keep things fresh, keep things pensive, thoughtful.
Absolute morons.
You can get
One,
slop
is that
anywhere.
misogynistic? Is that? Is it? What's hateful towards women about this? Like this is this is you about to lose your jobs, your email jobs, your HR jobs
Bro, these
to
email
AI.
jobs, is there anything more annoying than these email jobs? And literally, women will like make fun of men. I make more than you. And it's like, you send emails all day. Like my brother's woman, she like talks shit because she literally works from home at a computer. It's like, uh, enjoy it while it's there because it's not going to be there within a year or two. She's not going to have a job doing that
That's what
anymore.
this is.
Have to learn AI.
That's remarkable. Here we go. Here's the actual complaint from Rebecca Horn, the head of communications and campaigns at Pregnant Then Screwed, which campaigns to end discrimination in the workplace. Well, you can see what that's about. This advert is misogyny with a marketing budget, a textbook case of sexist labor stereotypes dressed up as innovation. It pushes the toxic idea that the ideal worker is a woman who is endlessly available, compliant.
I think there's a good chance of that, Christopher. I think there's a very good chance of that. Oh, hell yeah. I appreciate that, Arceus. I've been thinking about that lately, actually, what you just said there, Christopher. It's like, I said this a couple weeks ago where I said, slavery, if we hadn't fought the Civil War, slavery, it was obsolete. People people were going to release their slaves within the decade. By the 1870s, slavery would have been totally abolished without any wars or anything. For the simple fact, it cost more to pay for a slave, to own a slave, than it did to pay somebody wages. Because the cotton gin and all that stuff came out, it made slavery totally moot, totally irrelevant. Well, I think the same thing might happen with women. Like, I doubt we're going, like, I think it's a problem that's going to solve itself because they don't want to lay brick. They don't want to do plumbing. They don't want to work. They don't want to produce anything of value. They want to sell each other insurance, uh, have commissars, Soviet style jobs on the 27th, bro. He's not coming back till the 27th. 27th. But I think this problem is just going to take care of itself. Yeah, I will do them when Nick starts doing shows, my dude. He took the till the 27th, he's not doing any shows. So that's like 6 more days. But I think it's a problem that's going to take care of itself, not going to lie, because like I said, these women, they don't want to be plumbers. And they're already regretting this stuff. All these different women they post these TikToks. Who in the hell thought it was a good idea to put women to work? All of a sudden it's going to be kind of a moot point. At least it seems that way. They overwhelmingly hold white collar jobs. And what, 92% of white collar jobs are disappearing, or a big chunk of them. I think it'll be fine too. I think the future actually doesn't look so bad. 20 years ago, we would never have seen this coming, and everybody thought things. I think the natural order will come back, and if it takes AI to do it, so be it. Uh, because we don't need secretaries anymore. We don't need women to be secretaries. We don't need women to answer phones. We don't need women to administer worker drones in cubicles anymore. We don't need that shit. We don't need HR anymore. We have fucking AI. What do we need to pay a couple of fat, ugly, lazy white women or Spanish women to sit around and fucking push paper, literally paper, paychecks? Not even that sometimes. Payroll, they don't even deal with paper. So this shit, all these jobs that they've been, you know, that have been staples for women to work in that used to provide some value. When men did it, there was even more value there, but then the workforce doubled. But that shit it's moot. That those jobs, nobody is hiring those jobs anymore. In fact, the only thing they're doing is downsizing those jobs. Exactly, Christopher. That's exactly what I'm saying. These jobs, they're not going to be necessary anymore. There's going to be a market for AI, people that know how to integrate AI into businesses. There'll be a necessity for those jobs for a little while still. But once all these companies have AI, use AI, and leverage AI, that won't even be necessary anymore. There'll be a hell of a lot less cashier jobs, thank God. Uh, hell of a lot less telemarketing jobs. None of that shit. If you want to earn money, you're going to have to provide people value. You're going to have to provide a service that people want that they can't get from AI, that they can't get an equivalent service, or create a product that people want. I mean, straight up, I don't. Although with all these technological revolutions, people always think it's going to destroy jobs, but it doesn't destroy jobs. It makes new jobs is what it does. Although with the AI, it's hard to abstract out and be able to predict. I don't think people were ever able to predict what jobs would be needed, or they would take advantage and start, you know, take advantage of that opening in the market. Although if you think about it, I'm sure that, there are obvious or somewhat obvious uh, jobs that'll be created. Stuff, you know what I mean? Like the stuff that's obvious. And it does take some abstraction. You guys ever wondered what it would be like to be able to smell as well as a bloodhound? Can you imagine that? Like think about it. Can you imagine what it would be like, and what being a bloodhound, what it must be like? Can you imagine how that would be? Have you ever thought about that? It's possible. I'll explain it to you. But I'm just, want you to think about that for a second. How can you, is there any way that you guys know of that could kind of allow you to understand? Because there is. I forget what the bacteria is called, but it's a bacteria that is in rotting flesh, fecal matter, you know, shit, garbage. Uh, there's a certain bacteria that creates those smells. And we have a really, really sensitive smell for that bacteria. In fact, you ever notice that even if you get the slightest bit of shit on your hand or on your shoe, it reeks? You know what I'm saying? If you get a whiff of it and you're like, whoa, and you start looking at your shoes and whatnot, you know that we smell those bacteria as strongly as a bloodhound smells everything. So think about how powerful, it doesn't matter the tiniest bit of shit, you can get it on your hand or on your, and if you smell your you it you'll smell it. You know when you have shit on your hand. It doesn't matter how much you get on your hand or on yourself, you can smell it because we have a bloodhound level sense of smell for that smell. Now imagine everything was that powerful of a smell. That's what a bloodhound, that's the life a bloodhound experiences. Like, I thought about this as a kid, like, because I remember reading how, human beings, it's like 1 in 1,000,000 parts we can detect the smell of fecal matter, which is incredible, and it's about the equivalent to, like, a bloodhound, and when a bloodhound gets on the scent and hunts something, you know, if something was covered in shit and it was an animal, hell yeah, I could track that motherfucker, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that's so interesting because I like putting myself in other animals or people's shoes, thinking about things from different perspectives and trying to understand what it would be like to, to have different senses or senses that are stronger. Like, there are probably aliens and shit. Like, our vision uses light. We we see light. We actually don't see objects. We see the light that reflects off of the objects. And I'm sure that there are aliens out there that see in ways that we can't even imagine. Places that have no light, like bats. They say bats and dolphins and shit, they see with echolocation, that like they can map out what's in front of them. And you see in movies and shit like Daredevil, they kind of give you an idea of what that would be like, being able, how your brain would visualize it. Uh, there would be no color, but you would get shapes. And we see sonograms and stuff. You kind of understand how that works. But uh, imagine an animal or something that sees an X-rays or sees an ultraviolet. You know what I'm saying? Or sees with radio waves or who knows, you know what I'm saying? All kinds of different stuff. Thermal vision like the predator. I think they say snakes can see thermal vision like pit vipers and stuff. But it's just interesting to try and abstract and kind of put yourself in that position. Imagine what that must be like. I think it would be very similar, like the way we visualize things, we kind of like the way you picture your room when your eyes are closed. I would imagine that that's similar to how snakes with with the infrared vision see. I would imagine that's how dolphins, they kind of picture things. Do you guys ever think about shit like that? I feel like never hear people talk about stuff like that. I've never heard anybody ever talk about our our sensitivity, our smell sensitivity to certain smells. And it's weird, like why, that's just a way to understand other animals. And because I remember as a kid wondering what it would be like to be able to smell like a bloodhound or a bear, where blood, you can smell blood from a mile away, like, which is crazy. Like vultures can smell. They can smell the same bacteria that we smell. They have the strongest, the the greatest sense of smell other than the Tyrannosaurus Rex. In the entire animal kingdom, they have the greatest sources of smell. T-Rexes and vultures. That's wild. Okay. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna kick all of it. It's gonna do a number on everyone. I'm sure feminists will find a way to make AI a part of the patriarchy. You know, it'll just be another way that men oppress women. Never mind the fact that it's supposed to make everybody's life easier. You know, people are what I was talking about earlier about how everybody when they get out of what's up, Ganju? About it when people get out of high school, how they immediately look for some company that's going to employ them. People are going to have to get away from that. That shit is not gonna fly going forward. Like you're gonna have to like I don't see there being a slew of different companies. I mean, I think a lot of companies are going to consolidate, I would imagine. I think people are gonna be a lot better off trying to find a skill or trying to find a way that they can provide other people value, but it's not going to be at 9 to 5 jobs. That's a fact. Those days are pretty much over. And I think it's pretty safe to say that actually.
Question everything 8750 says, "Hey JT and crew."
Huh. Oh, I thought you were gonna say something.
JT Blaine says, "You should change your name to Johnny Quest, bro."
That would be a dope ass name though, for sure. Like I had a friend, his last name was Cuesta with an A at the end. Uh I think it was Spanish actually, even though he was like almost an albino. He was so blonde and pink, you know, but his dad's last name was his dad was a white guy too, but his name was Cuesta, Patrick Cuesta. Had a fucking that's such a dope ass name, bro. It's like Johnny Quest and shit. Yeah, I know what you mean there, Arceus. I've wondered that too, because he used to be here for every single show. I mean, he even created a handle on X. I mean, it is kind of weird. Where the hell did Touchgrass go? Yeah, I wonder what the hell did happen to him. I mean, maybe I ran him off, although I doubt it. Oh, you've had family in town, huh? No shit. On 1 second. Huh. Testing something out right quick. Make work jobs. I've heard of that recently. Make work. Exactly. If you were offering value, if they were offering value, there wouldn't be a chance of them getting getting fired or getting laid off. If they were in fact offering value, but they're not. This bullshit economy that we've had for the last 30 years, it's been a total fucking fugazi, man. We have produced diddly squat since we sent our manufacturing to China. Like, I remember when we used to produce like I used to work at a gasket company that produced car gaskets. It was called Roll Manufacturing. My aunt got me the job. Yeah, they moved all that shit or Mexico when I was in my late teens. All of it. It was a big ass factory. I mean, they had assembly lines that put the packages together. You know, they have several different gaskets in a kit. and they shipped that shit to Mexico, man. I mean, it's disgusting what they did. Nick, he took the week. He's taken the last 2.5 weeks off, basically, bro, since Good Friday to now, or to the 27th. And these people are the dunces that are talking about this bullshit about these stupid jobs, these dumb white collar jobs. It's like, something? Go ahead, waste your time bitching and moaning about jobs that are not going to exist in a few years, whether you like it or not. But there's going to be a group of people that are fucking morons that are going to bitch and moan and complain about how the jobs are going away and they're disappearing, when what they should be doing is stop throwing good money after bad. Focus on how to make money going forward. Who gives a shit about those jobs? You know what I mean? Like, they're no good. Why waste your time bitching about jobs that are leaving, whether you like it or not? Like, you're not going to see men bitching and moaning about jobs like that. They're going to be learning new shit. It'll be the women. Well, how are we going to make money if there's no easy email jobs for us to do? And those immigrant workers, they'll be going home here shortly. Narcissistic. It is. These people don't actually want to improve anything for anyone. They don't want they want to earn a check. They don't give a shit whether or not anybody's life benefits from it, if they actually provide any value. And these are 90% of your government bureaucrat workers. That's why they choose the government, because it's guaranteed. They can be a total bitch. They don't have to have any customer service skills. And that's why they do that shit. And they're gonna be mad. They're gonna be seriously butthurt when all these colored women, these bitch ass women that make your life hell when you have to get a new license. Yeah, sorry, but you're shit out of luck. Better go get a job at the fucking local county jail, you cunt. They're such bitches. I'll be glad to see their jobs disappear. Oh, yep, that's a fact. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, exactly. It's the worst to get AI on the phone. Whoa, that shit sucks. That shit sucks, bro. When you can't get a real person, you have to know how to navigate it. There's nothing worse than that shit. Having to know how to navigate uh through some bullshit AI prompts on a customer service call. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I seen that too. Israel, they don't give a shit. That's totally typical. They're totally fine with that shit. Somebody's Ganju Buster. He's Spanish, I guess. Yeah, they don't give a shit, and they probably tell their soldiers to do that shit. And I've seen this happen throughout my life where they do something and then you hear them come out and say, "Oh, this is bad." But it's only when they get caught. That's the only time that they do like if it wasn't okay, those soldiers would not do it. Those are grown men and they're in high intensity environments, high danger environments. They would not be fucking around playing games like children desecrating religious objects if they didn't think it was totally acceptable. Totally acceptable. And that's why they do that shit. And then when they get caught, then they, we totally condemn, blah, blah, blah. As if anybody believes that bullshit. As if anybody honestly cares. It's not, they're already considered an evil force on earth. Whether or not they piss on Jesus statues or beat on them, desecrate them, and then apologize, like whether they apologize or not, it fits. It totally fits. Totally makes sense. You know, that doesn't seem out of character for these people to do that shit. Doesn't seem out of character at all. And then they come out, oh, Benjamin Netanyahu condemns it. Does anybody think that they would have, if they had done that to some Muslim religious object or statue or whatever, desecrated something that was for Islam, they wouldn't have apologized for that. The religious backgrounds. Uh, what? Yeah, I'm not Hispanic. I was just bullshitting. Or I just talking. People have, since I was a kid, I remember a few different times people thought I was Cuban or some shit, which is fine. You know, I have dark hair and dark eyes. It's funny because they would be like, some lady. I remember the one time this lady spoke Cuban to me. I was like 5 or 6. And my parents were like, we were walking into a Mexican or some kind of a restaurant. I think it was a Chinese buffet. And I got up to in front of the door first, and the lady started talking to me in Spanish. And then my dad walks up, and he's like unmistakably European, bro. Like freckle. You know, he has auburn hair like Nick and the sort of pale skin and the freckliness, but he's red, you know, because he gets a lot of sun, so he's kind of red. But like, and his eyes are like fucking lightning blue, like way lighter blue than Paul Newman's. His shits are like electric blue, lightning, damn near. I don't believe that shit. They apologized. I don't give a shit at what Israel like they did it. They're only apologize. They're only upset that they're caught. But you know, when I was a kid, my parents used to bust my chops. They used to say that I was the maid's kid, like straight up. They'd be like, "No, you're the maid's kid. We had a Mexican maid we had working here, and she brought you along, and something happened to her. She disappeared, and we were stuck with you." My parents would be busting my balls and shit. Yeah, no, I hear that. No, I mean I think that's pretty cool. You know, like it's all good. I don't have a problem with it. Like, and both my brothers, they had lighter brown, like their hair's dark brown now, but I had dark brown since I was born. They had like super light brown with brown eyes. That's what they do. They want to brush everything under the rug. But they're not getting away with that shit anymore. Because we have social media, people are spreading that shit far and wide. We're over that. Yes, exactly, Krieger. If they didn't, but because my mom obviously birthed me, my dad's not going to sit there and and joke about him being a cuck. Like, that's not happening. My dad, no fucking way would he, like, no. But yeah, they're like, yeah, you're the Mexican maid, son. They'd be busting my balls. Even though my mom has the same color hair and the same color eyes, pretty much. Like, that's what's funny. It's like, what are you talking about? I look like mom. Like, hello. Like, you married her, dad. What the fuck, man? You know, straight up. But my mom, she's kind of the black sheep. Like, her sisters have, well, one of her sisters has blonde hair, her younger sister. The older sister has green eyes. My dad has 6 sisters. They all have blonde hair and blue eyes. I don't know, it's the luck of the draw, you know? My mom has dark hair, dark eyes. Forget who. Nah, no fucking way. Why would I want to be a Mossad agent, dude? I can be a CIA. I could have been a CIA agent, even though I wouldn't do that either, dude. Like, I'm not spending my life working for this shit ass machine, bro. Working to make sure that elites stay elites. Nah, I'm good on that. Like, I'm not putting forth energy and time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears just to keep the assholes who are in power in power. Nah, I'm good on that shit. You can miss me with that, as the colored say. Yeah, like I said, yeah, my dad has 6 sisters. They're all my grandmother's, she's still alive, blonde hair, blue eyes. And all my cousins, I have like, they're almost all female. I think I have like 3 male cousins on my dad's side. And then I have like 40 cousins. They're all blonde haired. And I seen a picture the other day of a family reunion, and I forgot they look like fucking albinos. And 2 of my cousins, their dad's German, their last name's Kuiper, which is like hella German. Bro, they look like fucking albinos when we were kids, man. Like, what? Like, I remember my cousin Nick, he's younger, like his older brother is my age and he's blonde, but the younger, he's my little brother's age. Bro, you could see his blue veins through in the side of his head. Like, his face, you could see the veins in his fucking, dude, that is how pale homeboy was. He was like Casper, bro. Inigo Montoya Blaine. I read that book in ninth grade. They left a lot out. Like, there was a whole side story about Inigo Montoya. Uh, he went on a quest after that guy killed his father and cut his cheeks. He took the sword and then he went on a quest to learn swordsmanship. There's a reason why in the movie he's such a badass swordsman. He spent his entire life between when he saw the five-fingered man to when he met the man in black, spent his entire fucking life, except for like the 6 months before he met the man in black, he was a drunk. But he spent his whole life learning swordsmanship. He started at a lower level master, and then he worked his way up to the greatest master in Europe, the greatest sword teacher, fencing teacher. And that's why he was so sure that he could beat anybody, that he could beat the man in black, because he had learned in multiple places. Like, he learned from one teacher in Portugal, one teacher in Italy, one teacher in France. Like, he spent his entire life learning the craft of fencing and had never been beaten until the man in black, the Dread Pirate Roberts. And it really just does a backstory on all the characters, the book, which I really like the Inigo Montoya backstory. It really was cool. Like it, you learn about fencing, the different techniques and the different, I mean, it's really neat. And it was pretty faithful, although the original version is harder to read, but a modern author who read it and was disappointed by the book because it was nothing like the Rob Reiner movie, because it had so much extra and it was written, I think it was written in a different style of speech, like maybe thous and those, or thou and thine, plain speech. So the guy basically, he didn't rewrite it, but he cut out the parts that weren't in the movie, or like the backs some it wasn't backstory. The book, he put in notes. At the beginning, there was a preface, and then in a few parts in the story, he put like one page of notes explaining things. And that's the one I read in ninth grade, but it was fucking dope, man. You know, the rodents of unusual size, the RUOSs, that's exactly that was in the book. It was weird. You know, rodents of unusual size that midgets played. And then like uh Princess Buttercup. I remember the book starts by telling you about the 20 most beautiful women in Europe and how Princess Buttercup was on that list. And that's how Prince Humperdinck chose her. Because she wasn't a princess. She was just a common woman, but she was one of the most beautiful women in Europe or on the continent, wherever it was. And that's how she got chosen. Yeah, there was a whole chapter was devoted to why Prince Humperdinck chose Princess Buttercup. But it was a great story. You know, I had this like I had to read classics, and I'm not a nonfiction reader at all. Never have been either. Or I mean, I like history books and shit, but I've never read like I remember a teacher used to read serial killer books to us in class. That shit was weird, bro. He'd be reading about different serial killers and their, you know, like shit written about them by the investigators. I never liked that stuff. Like I read The Count of Monte Cristo, the original by Alexander Dumas. I read Heart of Darkness, which is what Apocalypse Now Apocalypse Now was loosely based on The Heart of Darkness, which took place in the early or was written in the early 20th century. And instead of being in Vietnam, it was in British Africa, British colonial Africa. And Colonel Kurtz wasn't he was in the military, but instead of it being a war, it was a colonial period, and Colonel Kurtz was in charge. He was an ivory, he was a great white hunter, and he collected ivory. He had a whole bunch of like a whole section of land that he was in charge of collecting ivory. He dealt with the natives. He dealt with the colored natives, you know, bartering for their ivory. And in the book, Colonel Kurtz, he he was the best British ivory man in Africa. They said that in that book, Colonel Kurtz produced more ivory in his section of land, in his section of area, than every other ivory producer in Africa combined. That's how much ivory. That's why Colonel Kurtz was like, he was a badass in Apocalypse Now. It's the same thing in Heart of Darkness. And what's crazy is all the things that happen in Apocalypse Now happened in A Heart of Darkness. You remember how the chief, the guy that drives the boat, how he gets speared in the chest? That shit literally happens in the book because they go down river on a steamship because that Kurtz went native. All of a sudden, he quit sending ivory upriver. And they're like, what the fuck is going on? This is our best ivory guy. What is going on down there? So they send a steamship, and the steamship is manned by a bunch of colored Africans, except for the captain and the guy who's writing the story. I think he's an engineer or something. Like he either the captain or the guy that writes the book is good with boats, you know, because the boat needed to be refurbished before they went upriver. And part of the story takes place in some shitty little trading post in Africa. But they go upriver, and instead of, you know, remember in Apocalypse Now how all those toy arrows got shot at them? I mean, I don't know. You know, all those the toy arrows that get shot at them. In the book, it's spears, and they're Africans in the on the river edge in the trees. Because Kurtz had gone native, but with Africans. He had just become God, basically, to those Africans. And the guy who actually piloted the steamship was an African native, and he ends up getting speared in the chest too. It was a good book. It was. And it was interesting how they adapted it so well. But it was interesting because it was about British colonialism. And that's how you learn about the world, my dudes, is by reading. When you read old books like that, like I read Kim by Rudyard Kipling, The Jungle Book, which is one of my favorite movies, but I read that book when I was younger. Read Kim, which is another it's about an Irish boy. His father dies in India, and the kid just lives on the streets without parents, and like makes his way, and like he turns into like a little hustler that knows how to feed himself by begging and steals tobacco and shit. It's a great book, awesome book, and it was made in the 50s with Errol Flynn. But you learn about how other civilizations are. You learn about how economies worked in history. You learn about how the world works, and you get to see the patterns and the similarities with the modern world. And you start to get an idea of the sort of building blocks that are required for human civilization, because those never change. There are certain things that never change. We're always going to have economies, but they operate differently in different periods. There's always going to be strife. There's always going to be clashes between nations and empires and countries. In India, the clash was between Britain and Russia. That's what Kim was about. That they called it the Great Game. That's what the British called it, and it was in basically the second half of the 19th century. They were locked in this. It was a Cold War too. It wasn't a real war. It was a Cold War where they would send spies because Russia was trying to conquer Asia, and England, Britain owned India, half of Asia. Russia was trying to push Britain out and take over India through Afghanistan. They were trying to push the British out through Afghanistan. So and that's why Persia was a big deal even back then. It was a major power. But this is how this is how you learn about the world. How small Rogan looked to normal guys. What do you mean? He is pretty short. Yeah, I love fiction, like classic literature. Art of Darkness, that's considered a classic. And I read Don Quixote when I was like 11. I didn't really some of it I didn't understand, certain like when I read, if I came across a word that I didn't know, the first time I came across it, I would just skip. I'd skip it the first couple times, and if I still couldn't use context to figure out what it meant, I would look it up. Yeah, Persia's always been big, and it's next door to Afghanistan, and it was so big, it was similar to China. Britain could never subjugate it. They never ha- they never bowed to a colonial master. That doesn't mean that they didn't give deference. Like they weren't colonized straight up, but they were certainly under the British thumb, same as China. They weren't very powerful at the time, but they were powerful enough to keep what happened to India from happening to them. Something about adventure though, man. Like I'm an adventurous, curious person, I think. Like I love reading about India, Rudyard Kipling. I've read a lot of Ernest Hemingway. I read For Whom the Bell Tolls, uh, The Snows of Kilimanjaro. Uh, what's the other? It's A Farewell to Arms. I read that in rehab. That was a good one. It was about World War One. It's weird. Up until I read that book, I didn't know that the Italians were on the Allied side in World War One. They were on the same side as America and England. They fought against the Germans and the Austrians just like we did. And reading that book, which Ernest Hemingway was a an ambulance driver in that book, or in real life in World War One, and that's what he wrote it about. And You know, it's crazy too is before World War II, there was the Spanish Civil War between the Franco and the other guy. And dude, people from Detroit fought in that war. Literally packed their shit and went all the way to Spain to go fight in somebody else's war. Nobody died. Well, they did that in Ukraine, actually, now that I think about it. That's crazy. Yeah, people actually went and fought in Ukraine. And, you know, people used to do shit like that. You know, people were adventurous. I've been outside. I've been to the Bahamas, but I've never been anywhere else. I'm sure I will eventually. I intend on seeing the world. If you know, I may I may do it anyway. Just do a YouTube channel. You know what I mean? Like I might just cut it into my inheritance, spend it now while it's still worth something. You know, go to Asia, maybe India. I would like to go to Europe too, but you know, I wish I had gone 10 years ago, 15 years ago. That would have been dope. Go backpacking like Euro trip. Detroit. Yeah, I have family in Detroit as well. Yeah, he fought in World War I and he fought in the Spanish Civil War. You know, he was a badass. He was quite the man's man. And then he spent a lot of time in Africa. My little brother went to Africa like a year ago. He spent like over a month there, and I think he intends on going back or going. So he went on a mission, which I'll probably end up going with him if he goes again. If he goes, like if I need to get my passport, he just got he got his passport redone, but I'll probably end up going with him if he goes someplace again. And you know, I mean, just to say I did it, you know, and to go. I've always been an adventurous. I've wanted to go on do stuff like that, like Appalachian Trail, but I would actually like to go see maybe India. India would be dope, or Tibet. Tibet would be fucking sick. Uh, like 7 Years in Tibet with Brad Pitt. God damn, that was a cool ass fucking story. But you know, that kind of stuff, you really find out who you are. Like you really never get a chance to know who the fuck you are if unless you go do something. You know, I remember that was a uh, what's his name? The Martin Sheen says that in Apocalypse Now. You know, he says you never get a chance to find out who you are back in America. Basically, you know, like you got to go someplace different or experience shit. That's how you really kind of find out you know, what you're good at, what you're. Yeah, I wouldn't. It wouldn't bother me to waste money on. Oh, the stream is lagging. Yeah, it wouldn't bother me to waste money on. No way, it is lagging out. X out of some shit. Just X out of some shit. I think so. That's the problem. I think it would be well worth the money because you know I think memories are worth having. You know, like especially since most of these places are cheaper. You know, it's cheaper to travel in some of these places than it is to live here. You know, like it's cheaper to live out. I don't know if you guys ever seen The Treasure of Sierra Madre with Humphrey Bogart and Walter Houston, but they're like bums in Mexico in the 20s. Something's weird with the audio. Oh shit, I see it. My fucking I don't know why, but my fucking internet's sucking ass. Hang on. Hopefully that helped. I have another computer that was plugged into the internet. What the fuck? Yeah, my connection's really shitty at the moment. Hang on. Usually it bounces back. Yeah. No, I'm not muted. Yeah, it's lag. Oh, okay, it's better now. Good. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, it's doing a lot better. What in the fuck? Let me switch cameras. Maybe that'll help. Okay, yeah, that's when I switched cameras, it got better. Yeah, I don't know why. Out of nowhere, it just starts fucking lagging and shit. Like it was fine a minute ago. You know, I seen. You know how they have those all kinds of TMU, uh, uh, cheap, uh, cheap shit that you can buy from that TMU. Check this shit out, man. I was watching this earlier. So fucking dope. Although I wouldn't do this because you'll end up killing yourself. But it's fucking sick, man. You guys are gonna love this shit. Yeah, I watched this video earlier. It was just sick. Fuck. There we go. There we go. These TMU fucking jet
Makes it
boats.
faster.
Bro,
That
they're
sounds like
electric.
sport mode.
Check
Sport
this shit.
mode and
You guys
turtle.
remember that show, Swamp People? The one guy that had an aluminum jet boat. He'd always wreck that shit. Watch this. They
Or
bought
something.
3 of them.
What the heck? Dude, we
They're
gotta
electric.
package all 3 of them and take them to the water, man.
They're like $3,000 a pop.
If they float.
Dude, I would get one of those, man. That shit is sick, bro. $3,000. It's got a big ass battery. It's like aluminum and shit. Look at that. That is so sick, bro. What the fuck, man? Shit. It looks like a hell of a lot of fun, dude. But they look about dangerous as all get out, too. Do those not look dope as fuck, though, dude? Come on, man. Look at all, he's got all that Milwaukee shit, that Milwaukee fuel, M18 fuel shit. My brother had that vacuum, too. Damn, look at these dudes balling out of control, bro. Fuck. I hope one day I get to that point. I never read any Tom Clancy books. I remember seeing them on bookshelves, though, when I was younger. These guys, they must be making buku money with their YouTube channel. Look, they got bobcats and all type of shit, man. Look at this shit. 2 guys toting this big ass, this fucking little jet boat, little fucking bumper boat. This shit looks so dope, dude. Like, check this shit out, though.
Take off. Let's see what these things can do. Hopefully we don't sink one. You don't get a rock sucked up in the
They have boat hooks and paddles with them.
I see it.
Watch this shit, man. Watch this shit, bro. Dude, I would love this shit, although I wouldn't be doing it in no fucking creek like that. You're gonna wreck and kill yourself. Ain't no airbags in them shits. You'll end up dead. Dude, these things haul ass, bro. Oh, wow. Hell yeah. Somebody... Oh, no, yeah. Look at this shit, bro.
These things actually get on plane pretty
They
nicely.
get up on
Dude,
plane,
these things are
man.
quick. Dude, when you lean forward and you
Like-
get on plane, you can just, it goes fast.
They're electric.
What? Like stuff like that,
They have a
David, I
fucking...
think you...
Bro, these things literally have a bilge pump, my dudes. Oh, of course they roll quickly. Of course. But they have bilge pumps and everything. So like one of them put a hole in it when he like hits a rock or something, and all he has to do is turn the bilge pump on every couple minutes or every
I
like
wanna
30
hit it a little
minutes.
faster, so you're a little higher above
Oh, you had one of those Sea-Doo boats that you can do 360s in? A friend of mine had one of those when I was like 18, 19, 20, and we used to go out and fucking and tube and shit in his Sea-Doo boat, his jet boat. And you can do 360s and shit in them. He would, bro, we'd be hauling ass, and that motherfucker would bust 360s. They're pretty sick, man, because they're jet boats. They don't have a yeah, that Ford was no joke. But they don't have a rudder or nothing, you know, you gotta have propulsion to steer it so that you can do 360s with
The
them
water,
hauling
dude,
ass
these
and they
things are
won't
actually
flip.
fast.
Dude, was it worth? Should we say the price?
It
Like
was
10
over
grand
10K
for three.
That's all I gotta
Over
say.
10
That's
grand.
not that
The
bad.
shipping. The shipping was just
With tariffs and
astronomical,
everything.
and the tariffs and stuff.
This
but,
is sick, though.
and I was
Bro,
surprised.
think if you had three, like your homeboys, like, and you just went out fucking around, dude. And I live in Florida. We got springs everywhere, bro. I know, like, Wakaiva Springs, oh, would be perfect for this. It looks just like this creek, but
That's
it's
the thing
clear
about these
because
little
it's
ones. You
spring
cannot
water.
go through like stuff like that on
I've
things with a
canoed it.
bigger one. Maybe
Yeah.
on the left side. you
That's
kinda
why
have to
these
hit
might
it.
be even more fun, dude. How much percent do we got? Let's see here.
100%.
At 100
like,
too. What?
bro, these guys haul,
click
they
OK
get on
again.
plane
Hang on.
and they can go through 6 inches of water, my dudes. That's fucking sick, man. Like you could go upstream and then just float back downstream. You know what I'm saying? Like these would be sick, man. Like fishing, or if you're just trying to get from one fishing hole to another. Like let's say you lived on a lake, or you know what I mean? Like you could carry that shit like a
There you go.
canoe.
Good. Yeah.
Dude, wasn't that
That
epic?
was fun, dude.
Let's keep cruising,
Let's rip
guys.
some stuff around.
Dude, I was blown away. Look at this shit, bro. Like, what the fuck, man? Shit is so dope. Getting it. Looks dangerous as all get out, though, man. Like, you end up dead fucking around like that. Seriously. It's easy to wreck. Them things are solid metal. You wreck that, you're in trouble. Woo. That's sick, bro. Look at this little, it's like, they said it's like 2 foot deep at its deepest. They're just going under down trees and shit. Fuck, man. That is so cool. Bro, going to school like that? What? Living in Venice, cruising around in your little Temu jet boat. Fuck a damn gondolier. Those things look so cool, dude. They're like bumper boats, or like a little pocket boat, man. They haul ass though. They're not loud. There's no 2-stroke or 4-stroke engine whining. Dude. That's shallow, what he just went over to. As long as you plane, get up on plane, you can go through that shallow shit, no problem. Uh-oh.
Whoa!
He wasn't going fast enough to plane through it.
You gotta go fast in these areas. You cannot go slow.
Goon Squad. 2.84 million subscribers.
Yeah, I'm
That's
good.
why they're balling out of
Big ol'
control.
knot. You
Dude's
gotta go
making
quick.
that
That's the thing
guap
about
off
these
fucking
boats.
YouTube.
You gotta get on plane to go past these areas. You need to go get some pool noodles. I know.
Are you sinking?
You look like I'm sinking?
No, we're talking about pool noodles. Oh, for this or something?
Noodles, you have to soften it
Oh, for sure.
so you're
Way
not
bouncy.
bashing into it. One of them said he had a lump on his leg. I guess he bumped his leg. That shit's dope. Dude, look how cool that looks. That looks like a good time, man. Looks like a good time. Nah, they said they're $3,000, my dude. They're on Temu. What does it say on the side? Havospark. HAVOSPARK. Damn, dude. Those things are sick, bro. They just look like a hell of a lot of fun. Like go-karts in the water. That you can just have a good time in. You know, and the thing is with stuff like this and motorcycles, because you're not strapped in and because they're so lightweight, they can't store up a ton of kinetic energy. Like, you know, in NASCAR, Those fucking in NASCAR, when you wreck and you go flipping, that is not good. You know, actually, motorcycle racing is like way safer than NASCAR or car racing because when you wreck, you don't stay with the bike all the weight, you go flying. And when you land, you might get bruised and bumped a little bit, but you're not going to get, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get banged up on the inside of a car or stop dead and smack your head on the front of the fucking the wheel or something. There's something to be said about small vehicles like this where you're not strapped in. Because even if you were to wreck this thing and go and hit to a dead stop, you would just go flying. Now you might die from landing, but technically, statistically, it's safer than wrecking in a car. You know, because even when you wreck in a car, even if you have airbags, bro, that doesn't stop your fucking brain from slapping the front of your skull. Like that shit is major brain damage. I think these things are the tits, bro. These are the cat's ass, man. I mean, they beat the shit out of them too, and they kind of take it. Dude, it's like a little tour. They're like little touring boats. Damn. Looks like a hell of a lot of fun, dude. Wow. Getting it. Having a good old time, bro. Man, if you were out with your homeboys, bro, I could see just playing with these things for days, for months probably with my buddies. Fishing and shit. He went too shallow.
More speed, come on! Gas it!
Look at that little bitty thing. Bro, that shit is so hard, man. Oh man, that shit looks just too fun. Too fun, bro.
You turn around fast, it's too shallow. Go, 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 go!
$3,000 well spent. $3,000 well spent. Absolutely. Bro, you don't even need a lake. You can do that shit in a little creek, man. And it's free. Once you have it, once you have the boat, you're just charging the battery, my dudes. You don't even have to go to the gas station and fucking buy gas and all that horse shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you could save a hell of a lot of money and have a damn good time with some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta get on plane to go through some of this stuff.
Absolutely.
This is not a deep creek. I mean, most of this stuff, the deepest is probably like 10 feet here.
Just some
For
good old
sure.
boys. Good old boys,
Dude,
for sure.
This is the best. Like, you cannot go out here and have this much fun on a kayak.
Oh,
Hell
heck no.
no.
Even on a bigger jet boat,
no.
you're not probably going through here. A lot of this stuff. I mean, maybe you could.
Yeah, these things can go through small creek. This looks like Wekiva River down here in Florida, or Wekiva Springs. But you know what's cool about it is that you don't have to portage. You can go underneath felled trees, and you know what I'm saying? Even like down here, if we have a hurricane, like I went kayaking on one of these creeks after a hurricane, and they didn't even know, or only one person had made through the whole river. And we ended up having to portage our canoes over like 4 down trees. But with these things, you just, all you need to do is squeeze it. You know, if there's enough room for you to squeeze through, you know, you can get right through without portaging or anything, you know, as long as there's at least 6 inches of water, I think,
It's
something
going
like
way
that.
faster than these.
Yeah, that's true.
These you can kind of chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true, dude.
Yeah. My parents, and my family always had,
there's the
my family always had boats and jet skis too. The four-wheeler, I wrecked a four-wheeler as a kid, so I never really fucked with four-wheelers. Some bitches are dangerous. Although my dad's friend had two-stroke four-wheelers from the 80s. Holy fuck, those things went fast.
These got bent.
golly, look at the bottom right there.
They
Is that
punched a hole in that bitch.
Yes, it's a hole, dude.
No.
A
Check
little
this
hole.
shit out,
We
though.
gotta go back.
We gotta go back. No wonder you got more water than me.
Check this shit out, bro. This is the tits.
Oh, golly.
You probably hit something
We
hard.
need a full-time welder out here. Oh, dude,
Bilge
that's
pump.
sweet.
What the fuck do you know about that
honestly, I
shit,
think I'd be
bro?
able to keep going.
That
I
is
swear I
so
hit that
sick,
rock super
man.
hard.
Bro, and they keep using
Sounds
that.
smooth.
Sounds good.
They keep using this boat
Let's
for the
go,
rest of
dude.
the day. He just hits the bilge every once in a while. That's sick, bro. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I could show you a picture right now. My grandfather up north had a yellow Yamaha three-wheeler. My cousin had a big red Honda. But rode three-wheelers as a kid a lot. I actually have a picture of when I was a kid on a three-wheeler with my dad, the yellow Yamaha. We would go feed cows corn and shit on the three-wheelers. But yeah, my cousin down here in Florida, he had a big red for many years. The big reds are those three-wheelers are actually awesome, awesome off-roading vehicles. You just have to know how to drive them. You have to know, you know, there's certain ways you can't maneuver certain ways or you'll flip the son of a bitch. And as long as you understand what it can and can't do, they're so capable. You know, you can lift them up. They're so lightweight, but at the same time, they're almost like a tank, bro. They can climb up the side of hills and shit. Three-wheelers are so fucking useful. They're like little tractors. Look at this, bro. God damn, they're moving. They are moving. Bro, lots of fun, man.
Hey, way too shallow right here. It's like 2 inches, 1 inch. Yeah. All right, so the key
May as well be out
is
there with a
to
skimboard.
follow the darker waters.
No
I'm learning.
shit.
So darker waters means, of course, deeper waters. The boys are stuck downriver over there. I made it up pretty far. I think we could just keep going, but it'd be nice I think the GoPros are dying and stuff, so we need to come out here a little more prepared.
I was thinking the
This,
same thing,
honestly,
Goldie.
is
That's
just
why
such an awesome time.
that's straight up
So
why I
peaceful
brought
out
it up.
here. And
It looks, you'd think they're cheesy, but when they first pull them out, but you look at this shit's well fucking built, bro. This ain't a piece of shit, man. Like that is not a piece of shit. That's a pretty it's a small, but it's well crafted. It's riveted all through. It's got fucking windscreens, a bilge pump. These guys are out here just beating the shit out of them, they're using it in the worst possible environment, some shallow ass creek. But if you was in a pretty, a place where there wasn't a bunch of, if it wasn't so shallow, wasn't all kind of logs and shit everywhere, they wouldn't be getting beat up like this. But the fact that they're so small lends them to these small creeks. Like really, you can only canoe down these creeks typically, or a river of this size. But man, these dudes, they're doing like 50 in this little bitty creek, man, cruising, killing it. Look at that shit. I wonder if it's powerful enough to pull a tube behind it. That would be pretty sick, man. Or like barefoot water skiing. We used to do that when I was younger. We'd get a long ass fucking rope, coil that shit up on a dock, on my friend's dock. We'd get up on the roof of the dock and you'd have to time it just right. We got really good at it, but you time it just right, have somebody punch it in the master craft or the correct craft. They'd punch it. And then I'd run and jump with the fucking rope in hand, jump off the top of the fucking roof of the dock. And as soon as I hit the fucking water, my feet hit the water, the line would tighten up. I'd never even sink to my knees, man. I'd hit the water and just keep going. As soon as I would time it perfectly. As soon as I hit the water, that bitch would pull, man, and go cruising. I don't know. I know Ohio's a lot like Michigan. And I went tubing in Michigan when I was there, like where you just float down the river with coolers and shit. Uh Hunting, four-wheeling. There's a lot of shit to do up north. At least I've always found there was, although I don't live there. So there's typically, I mean, there really isn't much to do at what when it comes to like pool halls and businesses. Like my family lives out in a farm town, but man, there's always a party to go to. There's always a card game, a poker game being played. There's always something going on, especially during the summer. Two of them will pull a tube. I can't imagine using two to pull one tube. No shit. Pretty good at skiing. I used to go to Cypress Gardens, which they had like a world famous water skiing show, and they used the hydrofoil, the hydroplaning seat, or the hydrofoil seat that would, lifts up out of the water. Oh wow, they beat the dog shit out of these
We
things.
talked about sending it, so.
I mean, we sure did. All right, Elzar, let's see what you done over here.
Wow, that one's in great shape.
Not bad at all, dude. Bent a little fin right there, or whatever you call it.
Right
A
there.
little dent.
You're a pro, dude.
I don't think you were going hard enough, dude.
Yeah, I was going pretty hard.
Dude, that was awesome. Yeah, you did. I think you did the least amount of damage.
We kind of dent the back fin too, the lower one.
Beat the dog shit out of that orange
Dang.
one.
Ain't too bad, dude.
That one rock got you though.
Yeah, that one rock where I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
That
That's how you
shit's
know I was
dope.
giving it my all right there.
I would love to
Got a
have
hole
one
in
of
your
those, or
All
two
right,
of
guys,
them
so we
would be
had a
sick.
ton of fun out there. We already made it back. We unloaded our boats, and we already started making some changes. We got some LED lights.
Hell
And
yeah.
we're planning on actually doing some like light pods and maybe going out there at night. Let us know if you guys want to see maybe some of that content. But it was nice to get out there and just relax a little bit and just have some fun. But
Hell
anyways,
yeah.
that's going to be a wrap for today's video. But
yeah.
before we go, we're going to quickly roll the footage of our last two giveaway winners. All right, guys, so today we got
Good.
two winners coming out in the same
Oh
day.
wow, they did
Ready?
night riding.
So
Oh
we're gonna
shit!
tell you
Hell
guys
yeah,
the
they're fixing to
truth
ski.
about these Temu jet boats.
See how fast she really goes.
Ready, set, go.
Damn. See how they lean forward? They got the little noodles too.
Before this video gets
Ooh,
started,
night
guys, I do want to
night
mention
boating.
we just decided
What?
that we
That
are going to be
looks-
throwing in our
Dude.
three Temu jet boats.
That night boating shit looked dope, man. That looked fucking fun, bro. I'd be looking for a nice river, nice clean river to do that shit. Like a backwoods something. Fuck, man. So sick.
Straight to your door, pretty much.
And down here in Florida too, we don't have pebble bottom rivers. We have muck bottom rivers or sand bottom rivers. That shit blew my mind going up to Michigan and seeing their rivers are crystal clear and they're pebble bottomed. Down here, you can't see to the bottom of no fucking river. That shit's got to be about 6 inches deep if you want to see to the bottom. They got all that they call it black water, but it's all the tannins from oak trees that stains the water. I almost drowned up there in Michigan in one of those rivers, bro. I fucking shit faced while we were tubing, and I damn near drowned. I got snatched up into an eddy. I fucking had to get out of the boat to get an oar because I dropped that shit. But I was so drunk I couldn't swim, man. I was like, literally, I drank like half a gallon of water, barely fucking kept my head above. Like I grabbed like a tree branch. Like survived, luckily. Damn, they're fucking hooking these things up. Bro. Oh wow, the shit's got a little they got a little attach point there. I guess so you can trailer them. So you can pull them up out of the water. Wonder what they're doing. They got all Milwaukee tools. That's nice. I do as well. Damn, dude, I like the lights, man. Those are dope, dude.
All right, guys, so we are
Those go so
officially
fucking
night
hard,
ready.
man.
Of
I
course,
even
we
like-
use some Temu
I
lights.
even like the fucking neon colors, the neon paint. That shit is cool, bro.
Guys,
It reminds me of bumper boats.
walk around. What you got going on with your boat over
Dude,
here?
so we had to do strip lights that way you can just see each other out there because we're gonna be cutting up at night.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
So we got
Dude, they
pod
got
lights.
vets and shit.
Everyone has pod lights, but I just did a little
Fuck these guys.
customization. Got me a nice little
Lucky.
You did too
switch,
much. You did
nice
too
little
much.
light up switch panel right there. And of course, I mean, we all had to do the underwater life.
These are my kind of guys here. This is like how my friends are, or all my friends were, just good old boys.
It's gonna be lit up. It's gonna be insane.
Heck yeah, dude.
What do you got? What is that?
We do mudding down here too. Which brand? They're called what do they have? A Spark? I think they're called
We all
Have a
got these
Spark.
little LED pod lights. That's gonna be
They
really
took the
nice.
decals
And
off.
Super bright.
those are super bright. And I even went as far as to putting
HAVOSPARK.
on the front, dude.
Where's
Man,
mine
they put
at?
lights on
I
the
need to
front.
do
That's
that.
sick.
I
Down
think
into
we
the
ran out
water.
of lights, but David also has got his boat.
You guys ever been shrimping? We go shrimping down here in Florida, and you drop lights in the water so you can see the shrimp. Use big ass nets, or you can do it off of a boat too, because they like when the shrimp run, they just float on top of the water. They get carried by the current. You just dip your net in and pick them up with a dip net. We also have flounder gigging, where you go out with basically, frog gigs. I've done that too, but they have 3 prongs. You put them on like a rake handle or a broom handle. The flounder gigs, them bitches got 5 prongs, bro. And you fucking gig the shit out of that flounder. And the stick is going nuts. The damn flounder's trying to get away. That shit's fun, bro. Flounder gigging, because they sit there still, because they're camouflage. They change colors and
Set
shit.
up red LEDs. He's got that red orange theme going. Where's your switches and stuff?
Right here, dude.
Everybody wired their
Oh,
stuff
wow.
up differently, but it doesn't
Remotes.
matter as long as you're lit up out there. You
That's
know what I mean?
sick.
So it's
I like that they
turn it
all did
on.
a different version.
Oh, you got a
everything's
remote?
already on, right? So
Look, these guys got
that's sick.
Yeti
Where's
lunch
your- how do you
boxes
turn
and
on your
shit.
pod lights right there?
Wait,
dude?
first let's talk
you got
about
a
the
butt?
engine bay that we got going on here, buddy. Who got LED lights in their engine bay?
That's pretty cool and unnecessary, but it is what it is.
Dude, these guys are living the
we're
life.
Lit up,
We're
man.
ready for some night.
These guys spend all their time like tricking out toy jet boats and shit. Oh, in New Orleans. Alka-Seltzers. Oh yeah, to blow the damn birds up. Yeah, it is illegal as shit. Yeah, that's different shrimping though. Unless unless they did it like I'm talking about, because the way we shrimp, that was like regular fishermen. Then you have commercial shrimping, which is fucking Forrest Gump type shit. But when like, you can do it from a pier. I remember when I was a kid, there was a pier you could do it from, where you hang the light off the pier, and they had outlets on the pier. And then we started doing it from a boat. While we'd be flounder gigging and shrimping at the same time. I brought home buckets full of shrimp before. Big
But
ass
before
shrimp,
we do
too.
night riding, we're gonna do some daytime racing.
Oh wow, they got the flatbed out, the landscaping trailer out.
Emu boat testing part 2.
That's a nice truck. My brother has one of those.
Had to stop by the Bass
My
Pro
brother
to
has like
pick
a
up some-
$60,000 F-150. It's not the platinum, it's custom though. The guy didn't get the platinum package, but he got everything. He got all the options. It's actually better than the platinum.
goodies. What we got here? Wakeboard.
It's all blacked out too.
Got some
Black
wetsuits,
fucking
'cause the rain is coming
trim,
down.
black fucking
Dude,
bumpers,
it's cold
everything.
It's cold. We got our snacks.
Oh, crawfish, hell yeah. I used to catch them bitches out of a lake down the street from my house. Lift up those paddle boats and shit. Fucking crawfish.
I think this
underneath
rain
them.
should stop, but we're here, man. This is a good spot too. It's perfect for these boats.
Yeah, so
Oh,
our
it
plan
is.
is to kind of set up a little racetrack in this pond right here.
Just right here on the edge. We don't need all of
Right.
this. This is a lot
A
of
pond
pond right
will
here.
do.
So
Yeah.
I say we got a
Get down
couple
with a
balloons, some
pond.
strings. We're gonna tie probably some rocks.
Bro,
to
I'd
them.
be
just
setting
do like a little
ramps up
circle
and
course.
shit.
That'd be just so
You feel
fun
me?
to
I'd be fucking
test all three
jumping
of them
them
out, just
boats
race
and
'em, you know
whatnot.
what I
Heck
mean?
yeah, race them, and we're gonna compete
At least
for
try
who's
it.
fastest Mr. Timu
I
Jetboat
think
racer.
it's gonna be me. So y'all got a trophy? I'm gonna need a trophy.
Man, I
This is
wonder
my
what
first time
else,
wearing
what other
a
shit.
wetsuit.
Look at these pussies putting on wetsuits. I wonder what other shit that Temu, what other kind of cool stuff can you buy off of Temu? Bass Pro Shops. There was a point in time, especially down here in Florida, where if you couldn't wear anything with Bass Pro Shop logos on it, you couldn't wear a Bass Pro Shop hat, a Bass Pro Shop shirt, you would literally get run out of your run out of the fishing hole. Used to go fishing in Sebastian Inlet. It's basically the best saltwater fishing hole in Florida. And we got ran out one time. My dad showed up with a Bass Pro white shirt on, and they were like, "No, you can't stay here." They're like, "No, you can't stay here, bro. Them shits are bad juju, man. You can't be around here with that Bass Pro Shop bullshit on." Like, I'm not even kidding. And now it's like all the rage. The young kids wear them. Fuck, man. That shit is sick, dude. Damn. Fucking A, bro. You don't want to get hurt, though, man. Get hurt. Break shit. Although less likely to do that on water. You know, if you flip it, you just fall in the water. Although you can get some gnarly whiplash. A friend of mine had a twin turbo Honda jet ski. Holy fuck, man. This shit would do like 70 mile an hour. It was no fucking joke.
Oh, man. Number one. You tapped out, dude. I was about to get you.
You soaked me completely in water.
Dude, same here.
I'm so dude. The waves
so
I think it
dude.
lasts
That is
for
fun. The
like
waves
a
are
day.
what's fun because they just.
You got to be able to hit
Because
the
these
waves.
guys, this is the second time they've taken these out. They took them out into a creek, and they spent all day at this fucking creek racing these things and fucking around with them. So I think that battery lasts like all day long, pretty much.
David,
Like it
you get a
does.
participation trophy.
Hey, my combobulator's almost dead.
You
what's
blasted
up,
water
man?
all over me. Hey, that's my
They
tactic.
got the little mini.
That was wild. Dude, that was awesome,
the
though.
collapsible
One more race,
oars.
boys?
Yeah, should we do a little short course this time?
Let's do a short course.
Okay, I'll bring
Them
what
things
this
look
balloon
fucking
in.
sick.
Yeah.
Man.
I kind of like
I
being
like
right
that
on
one.
that.
Let's bring that balloon in
All
this
right.
way.
Bro, they're so sick, man. Little electric jet boats. Look at this shit. The things are awesome, bro. Putting on the fucking Mexican accordion music. Hell yeah. Woo! That shit just looks like a hell of a lot of fun, man. Hell of a lot of fun. Go out with your homeboys. See, he didn't wear a fucking wetsuit. He's not a pussy. No, he didn't either. I know, everybody's been like, bro, I want one of those. They're like $3,000, dude. They're pretty well made, too. It's not bullshit. Whoa. Damn, they got a bilge pump and everything, bro.
I don't know. I think I went underwater for a second. I got so much water on my boat.
No way.
Watch all this.
Let's
I got
look at the
like
little
5
bilge.
gallons
That
of
shit is
water
so
on board.
cool.
No way, dude. All right, so that racing was absolutely awesome. Some people win more than others, but it don't matter. If you're out here, you're winning, dude, because
Yeah.
how fun was that? Even just on a little pond right here,
Everybody's a winner out here, especially when you're on one of these, dude. It does not matter, dude. These are like a blast. I mean, the creek, the rivers are fun, but you don't even have to have a lot of water, dude.
You really
You're just
don't.
Using this little spot right here, these things are tiny. You
Yep.
can rip around, and they're just a blast.
dude. They really are. David, how
yeah.
you feel out there? You good?
Hey, I won one. That's all that matters.
That's right. And you got your hoodie on. Did you get
I
soaked?
mean,
yeah,
they
I got
seem
the
relatively
brand. You know what?
seaworthy as
It's a lot of
well.
fun.
That was a ton of fun, and I just can't wait to do some night riding. But that's here
don't
soon.
think
But right
they're-
now, we need to answer a ton
don't
of
think
questions
they're
because
down
these
here.
suckers kind of went viral all over YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So we kind of want to just cover some questions. That way, we kind of don't just get rid of them and nobody
went
hears
viral.
about these ever again. We're gonna tell you guys the truth about these Temu jet boats. So where exactly can you get these suckers, dude?
You can get these suckers. We picked them up from Alibaba. Temu is just like a little joke because everything is small on Temu.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it really is.
You order
dude.
Yeah, Alibaba, you can literally buy anything on that fucking site. That shit is wild, dude. You can buy any, and then you know what's crazy is China, they have other apps. I think that app is like Weibo or something like that. Bro, you can all right, Krieger. You can literally buy insurance or a boat or dog food. You can buy anything on this app, this Chinese app that they have over there. It's like a bank. You can use it as a bank. You can use it as an insurance, like for insurance. Dude, you can buy literally anything. And they're going to, no, not Alibaba. It's called like Weibo or something like that. Weibo. But you can buy insurance. I heard this like a week ago. I've known about the app for a long time. They've had it for like a decade, and they're going to introduce it to America, but they've been like trying to ease us into it because it will put other people out of business because you can literally get anything through this app. You can send people money, you can get insurance for your car. I mean, it's Chinese, and I guess all of Asia uses it. They use it in India. It's like the one-stop shop for apps. I doubt it might survive the ocean, you know. I mean, not the open ocean, but it'd probably be okay in salt water as long as you washed it real good. But I mean,
Jetboat.
this is this ain't really, this ain't a fucking sailboat, man. You know what I mean? Like it's about as seaworthy as a Sea-Doo, as a jet ski, you know. Some people take jet skis out into the ocean, but you don't go very far. You don't go way out in the middle of, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna get this thing, but honestly, they're on Alibaba. They're like 3 to 4 to 5, depending on shipping and stuff like that to your area.
$5,000.
But
3 to 5
they're just
grand.
everywhere now. I've seen a lot of more people post these for sale because of the videos. So just gotta do your homework on them. We got the bigger batteries on here.
Yep.
You can order them a little bit cheaper, a smaller battery, but I think you want to go bigger if you're,
Absolutely.
if you're trying to rip around.
Absolutely, dude. I do not regret it one bit. But yeah, price-wise, you're definitely looking right around $5,000 with tariffs, shipping, and everything. So
Yep.
if you're trying to get
Bro,
something
it does
for
look like a Diddy Kong boat. Well said, Mina. I was saying bumper boats, those like tube, the round boats with a little engine on them. But no, this reminds me of fucking Diddy Kong Racing, bro. Like dead on Diddy Kong Racing. Are they gonna have like a little plane too? Little planes you can fly,
$300 to
race?
$400, and somebody's advertising this, you're
Not
probably
sure
gonna
about the
get
top speed
a
yet.
tiny
You're probably
one.
gonna get an actual Temu jet boat.
Find a seller that's verified. That's what we did. But anyways, that's enough of that. We'll answer some more questions as we go. I say we first do a top speed
Top
run.
speed. Let's see how fast these things are.
Really?
Really, for sure.
Okay, yeah, we're fixing to get the top speed then. Hell yeah. Although this shit don't really work all that well. Those speedometers on your phone. I never had any luck with them.
23 miles an hour. I'm jumping up and down too much.
Mine is too. 23 miles per hour?
Yeah, that's pretty fast.
Dang, that is pretty
So I
fast.
think they'll go 25 with like super smooth
Probably
water.
feels like
They
it's
look
hauling
much
ass
faster,
too, though,
especially
'cause
in
it's
little
so
creeks.
tiny.
And it feels much faster
Oh,
in little
yeah.
creeks. That's why we're going back to the creeks at night, dude.
Yeah, way better than
It's
Oh,
so
that
much more fun.
sounds
Just the feeling
dangerous,
of
though.
just little boat on a little creek and just moving fast.
Yeah, it's definitely way funner.
But he's ripping.
Look at
dude.
that shit.
Oh, yeah.
That
Bro.
costs some air too, dude.
Yeah, you can easily.
Oh man, that shit looks fun, dude. Fuck, that looks like a good time.
You're good, Fox.
He's taking it easy. Woo! Thing looks like it's just a hell of a lot of fun, man. Like, especially if you live near the ocean or you live near a big lake or something where people were partying and shit was happening. That would be sick, man, just to be able to kind of just cruise up in one of those things with some beers or something. Chill out.
Alrighty.
Go
Pops, what do you
tubing.
think? Did you have fun out there?
Yeah, but for me, it's an old man.
Oh, Pops,
You
you're
know,
still young. Young at heart.
It's for young people. It's nice.
Pretty sure you
Pops
could
is actually
jump
about
them damn
220,
things.
and it pulled him no problem. So I'm excited to see if that little Temu jet boat will pull me on this
Chatting
wakeboard right
with
here.
AI.
If one of them won't pull me, we'll hook up 2 Temu jet boats,
Oh,
and
wow.
we'll make it happen. But I think it's gonna be epic.
That
it
takes
seems
some
like the blue boat
stones,
is the
man.
fastest for some reason, and the answer is yes. Available.
Yeah.
Jesus. It takes balls, man. No shit. It's trying to get his ass up out of the water. can't quite get him up on plane though. Oh man, it's got some torque though. Oh shit, there he goes. He's fixing to be up. No shit. Yeah, he's fucking struggling to stay up. Oh, look how slow that shit is. Damn. That sucks, man. Maybe they haven't figured it out yet. They should be trying to,
Alright, so the team of jet boats were definitely not powerful enough to.
they should be trying to get the boat at full speed and get like kind of a, I don't know, I guess you'd have to be barefoot. You can't do it when you got fucking both feet in a goddamn wakeboard, but shit looks like a hell of a lot of fun though. Yeah, that's a nice truck. My brother has that
We got a
same
little
truck.
issue. The place that we launched last time, where we were planning on going, actually shuts down at sunset, right?
Yep.
So we're trying to get some access, some
Here's
side
good
access. This is
but
nice, dude.
That's a far walk.
That is.
What we can do, we just gotta be quick. I drive down here, quickly drop the boats off right here, and then drive back up. You know what? No, I'm serious. You know, I'm gonna back up
do
right
it.
here. We're gonna drop all the stuff off, and we're gonna drive.
That is
Oh,
sick. I
shit.
turned these
That
lights off
looks
because they're a
fun.
little too bright.
That looks like a hell of
Dude,
a
your
lot of
boat
fun.
looks so cool, dude. Dude, look at my lights in the back.
That's
The
tight.
backlights look insane.
That is so
We gotta go
sick.
hit it up before it gets too dark.
I know, right? We kind of came out here a little too late, but it's okay. We're still gonna have some fun.
They got the lights.
It's never too
Fuck
late,
yeah.
dude. Heck yeah, dude.
Gotta be careful though. End up killing yourself. Oh man. See, that's how when you go shrimping in a boat, that's kind of how it is. You got the lights pointing down in the water. Flounder gigging too. Damn. Bro, that shit just looks like a hell of a lot of fun, man. Huh. They don't make a whole lot of noise either, so you're not gonna attract the police or anything. Huh. Trucks and shit going over the bridge. Fuck, that looks like a hell of a lot of fun, man. That looks so cool. You know, I wouldn't mind getting like an ultralight airplane. Getting a pilot's license.
Yeah, those are way too bright.
Dude, I
Maybe
think
even
we
like a
came out here too
Cessna.
late.
Yeah.
I think we need to come out here when the sun is just going down.
Way too late. I can't even see anything. No, I mean I can see good. It's just
Does look like a video
I don't
game.
know
Looks
where
like
we're
Diddy
at.
Kong
I know,
Racing
right? That's
on
the only thing.
N64,
It's like-
man.
it's kind of sketchy.
It's very sketchy because like
this is like a blockage right here, like complete.
yeah, it looks like a beaver got through that one right
Yeah.
there.
That's crazy. Thing's hauling ass. Jeez, look at that. Woo! Pulls right up on the.
How much do you think these things weigh, dude?
Man, I don't know.
I think about 200 something pounds.
easily.
So they look light, but
They're
guys,
heavy.
They're steel,
one
I
of the-
think. They look
I
like
guess
they're steel.
downsides is it's heavy, but hey,
It's cool.
it makes up with it with all the fun that you
Yeah,
have, dude.
just have a boat ramp, honestly.
They got a little hook on the front too, so you can pull them up onto a trailer.
Oh, about lost my boat.
Dude, if only these things had 10 more mile per hour, dude. I think that would be
know.
perfect.
That's where the gas ones kind of beat these
Yeah.
a little bit because they're a lot
But
faster.
I don't think you'll be out here with the gas one because of how noisy it is,
yeah,
you know?
they are pretty
Why couldn't you
loud,
just
unless
soup
can
the
find, like, a
motherfucker
quiet
up
one, you
and
know?
put something a little
Heck,
more,
they look
a little
so
bit more
sick.
power?
David, run this bank.
You probably
Run it
put
to the road.
put higher amp batteries on, you know, or a bigger, higher cranking amp battery, you know.
What you got going on here, Mr. Freeze?
Oh, they're pulling them up out. Jesus. Yeah, of course it has to have some way. Shit, man, I would be souping those up. I'd be getting them to go faster. If, like,
All right,
that's
guys,
the
so
one
last
thing
night
about
was
it,
an
I'd
absolute
fix it.
movie, dude. But seriously, guys, those were a lot of fun, even at night. And don't forget,
Oh,
3
yeah.
people in the next 24 hours are gonna get one of these shipped to your front door. That's gonna be an
man, that's
absolute
sick.
blast because you don't have to wait 6 months. You can get literally one of these to your door, and you can go rip around, do whatever you want with them. And you're getting into the giveaway, the GMC and the Audi. Can't go wrong with that, plus 50K cash. So that being said,
Bro,
I
how
think
they
the last
just
few
give away
questions
all
was
that
battery
shit?
life. I think it's like an hour full rip. You can go a little bit longer on eco mode, and charge time's like 3 hours. So they're a
Okay,
lot of
it's an
fun.
hour.
That's gonna be a wrap. We'll see you guys next
Huh,
time.
I thought it
Peace.
was longer than that. That's not too bad, though. It's battery. You could just get a couple batteries and just swap the motherfuckers out. Anyway, it was a killer stream. Good hanging out with you guys. It's getting a little bit late. Hopefully I'll have something a little bit more pensive to talk about tomorrow. If not, I'll find something decent to talk about or something to get into. I hope y'all enjoyed the show, and till tomorrow. Good evening, fellas. I will catch you in the